So friends, in a new post, Donald Trump makes yet another desperate, nonsensical assertion that he can't be prosecuted for his democracy-busting January 6th crimes. You know what? Let's run with that. What would the natural extension, the consequences, the implications be if Donald Trump or any president truly could not be prosecuted for trying to steal the U.S. presidency? Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So friends, Donald Trump continues to make completely baseless and bogus assertions about why no one should be able to prosecute him for his democracy-busting crimes on and around January 6th. Let's take a look at Donald Trump's most recent post on this topic, and then let's tease out the implications of what Donald Trump is arguing in favor of. You know, what would happen if the courts accepted Donald Trump's absurd assertion that no president could be charged with a crime, no president could be prosecuted for trying to steal or trying to unlawfully retain the power of the presidency? Let's start with Donald Trump's recent post. I will be attending the federal appeals court arguments on presidential immunity in Washington, D.C. on Tuesday. Of course I was entitled, as President of the United States and Commander-in-Chief, to immunity. I wasn't campaigning. The election was long over. I was looking for voter fraud and finding it, which is my obligation to do, and otherwise running, Donald Trump wrote this one, and otherwise running our country. If I don't get immunity, then crooked Joe Biden doesn't get immunity. So friends, what is Donald Trump saying there? And what are the natural implications, the consequences, if we were to accept Donald Trump's assertion and extend it moving forward? Because Donald Trump is saying, I was looking for fraud, so I get to commit any and all crimes I want because I just told you I was looking for election fraud. I can commit crimes to retain the power of the presidency because I was looking for election fraud, and I can do it with complete immunity against prosecution. Okay, let's look at that through a fact-based lens for just a minute. All of Donald Trump's executive branch officials said there was no fraud, undermining the results of the 2020 presidential election. His own attorney general, who he picked, Bill Barr, said no fraud undermining the election's results. And just for fun, let's recall Donald Trump's own daughter, Ivanka Trump, agreed with Bill Barr, sided with Bill Barr, did not believe her father's claim that there was fraud undermining the election's results. Chris Krebs, the director of the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, went on record definitively saying the 2020 presidential election was the safest, most secure election in our nation's history. Other DOJ officials told Donald Trump there's no fraud undermining the election's results. And what did Donald Trump tell them? I don't care. Just say there was. and leave the rest to me and my Republican allies in Congress. All of the courts, more than 60 courts that handled claims that were filed, lawsuits that were filed by Donald Trump's, nefarious lawyers trying to undermine the election's results based on bogus claims of fraud, all 60 plus courts in substance said no fraud, undermining the election's results. And friends, the United States Supreme Court did not accept a single one of those cases for review, thereby in substance affirming that there was no fraud, undermining the election's results. But against that factual backdrop, all of that, Donald Trump says, I say there was fraud. Therefore, I get to commit any and all crimes to try to steal the election and to try to unlawfully retain the power of the presidency. And there's nothing you can do about it. You can't prosecute me for those crimes because I said there was fraud. Okay, friends, let's put that to the test. What would happen on the next inauguration day, January 2025, after the 2024 presidential election? Well, all Joe Biden would have to do is say, fraud. I'm looking for fraud. Therefore, I can commit any and all crimes to retain the power of the presidency, and following Donald Trump's blueprint, I can't be held accountable. I can't be prosecuted. There's nothing Donald Trump or anybody else can do about it, so I'm not going anywhere. That is the natural extension of what Donald Trump is arguing. Nobody will ever accuse Donald Trump of being a strategic thinker. But there is one thing that I agree with Donald Trump about, that he put in this most recent post: if I don't get immunity, then Joe Biden doesn't get immunity. Exactly right, Donald. Exactly right. You don't get immunity for crimes you commit while in office. Joe Biden doesn't and shouldn't get immunity in the event he commits crimes in office. He hasn't. There's no evidence of it. And I think fact-based people probably suspect he won't commit crimes while in office. But you're exactly right about that, Donald. You don't get immunity. Joe Biden wouldn't get immunity if he committed crimes. And every other American president moving forward, if they choose criminality over lawfulness while in the Oval Office, they don't get immunity either. Because justice matters. Friends, as always, please stay safe, please stay tuned, and I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.